Is a 50-year mortgage a good idea? Y'all know the vibes, man. It's your boy D-Waugh back at it again with another D-Waugh Talk segment. Shimmy, we outside. And today we're going to talk about what Trump just brought up the other day by proposing a 50-year mortgage. That's crazy. I ain't going to lie. But I ain't going to get into the politics. I ain't going to get into the emotions. I ain't going to do none of that. We're going to look at raw numbers and dictate what makes more sense. A 30-year mortgage or a 50-year mortgage, or renting and investing the difference. We're going to get into all that with pure numbers and facts, y'all. I ain't like these other people that's going to tell you words. We're going to look at the numbers and we're going to see what makes sense. You feel me? But before we get into it, disclaimer, Shimmy, this is not financial advice. I am not an advisor. This is for educational purposes only. Please do your own research on everything that I am saying today. You feel me? Next, we got a money mindset moment. For y'all that don't know what a money mindset moment is, this is essentially a positive affirmation that Wolf and I do on every episode to bring positive affirmations regarding wealth towards you and yours. You feel me? So today, our money mindset moment is, don't confuse owning a roof with owning wealth. Word is bond. Don't confuse owning a roof with owning wealth. Don't fall into that. Wealth comes from what you keep, not just what you buy. The goal isn't to owe less interest, it's to own more freedom. Don't confuse owning a roof with owning wealth. There's a lot of people out there that's house rich and cash poor. But we're not going to get into that. We're going to go straight into the numbers. I feel a way about this, y'all. I've seen a lot of people get caught in this trap with America when it comes to owning a home, this, that, and the third. I digress. We won't get into it. Not to say owning a home is a bad thing. It's a great thing, but you got to do it smart. You feel me? Repeat after me. Don't chase ownership. Build ownership with intention. That's the main goal we're going to get into, right? So, boom. 50-year mortgage, right? We all know what a mortgage is. A mortgage is a loan you take out from the bank when you want to buy a crib, right? Either it be a single-family home, multi-family, investment property, commercial property, whatever the case may be. You're going to get a loan for that. That is in the form of a mortgage. For me? So, today, we're going to break down purely numbers to figure out what makes sense. How much is a 30-year mortgage? How much would be a 50-year mortgage, hypothetically? And it doesn't really make sense to do the investment compared to investing in the stock market. You feel me? So, boom, we're going to get into it, man. We're going to use Boston as the average price of homes for this examples that we're going to go through. Just because I'm in Massachusetts, so I'm not in Boston, but Boston is our big city. So, we're going to use that place as an example, right? Let's get into it. Let me share my screen. Hold on, wait a minute. Let me find this, y'all. Bear with me now. Bear with me. All right, boom. Boom. All right, bet. Bow. Bow. All right. Y'all see my screen? Woo, woo. Feel me? So, boom. What the hell? Okay. Boom. So, we going to use this appreciation calculator to dictate what's going on. You feel what I'm saying? How much would the home appreciate within 30 years, right? So, boom. We're going to do $1 million because the average home in Boston is damn near $1 million. So, we're going to start off with that, right? The appreciation rate for a home, we're going to do it yearly because we're going to do annual appreciation. And the average appreciation for a home is between 3 to 5% historically. You feel me? So we're going to do, let's say, 3.5%. Boom. So by the end of your mortgage, hypothetically, if you was to get $1 million home in Boston, your property would be appraised not at $1 million, but at $2.8 million. You feel me? Over the course of 30 years, right? $2.8 million. Let's take that down, right? We're going to do math out here. You feel me? It's going to be 2.8, right? So, boom. Make sure I got it in my calculator. All right, boom. Now what we finna do is we're going to go to this calculator. Now, this calculator is going to calculate the mortgage and how much you're going to pay over those 30 years, right? So, boom. Let's do the same exact thing. It's $1 million home. That million? Hold on. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell, Leonte? What the Holly Berry? That was 100,000. Can't count my zeros, y'all. That's $1 million, right? Let's say we do a conventional loan. A conventional loan is when you put 20% down for a down payment, right? A down payment is pretty much the cash you put forward to securitize a loan. So, hey, I'll give you 20% of the loan so you can give me the rest of the money. Give me the other 80%. For me? So let's say to do 20% down. The whole length of the loan is 30 years. And the average rate right now is about 6.3%, right? Boom, starts November. We're going to keep the property taxes, the insurance. We're going to keep this all the same. This is the generic, basic stuff you get from this calculator, right? We're going to calculate that. Bow. Boom. So total out of pocket, you will be paying $2.3 million. You feel me? Now remember, and keep in mind, you're paying this much in interest with the 30-year mortgage, right? So boom, you paying $2.3 million, and your final value is $2.8 million, right? So let's do the math out. We got $2.8 million. I'm gonna press some buttons on my calculator right here. Bear with me. Yeah, $2.8 million minus $2.3 million, right? Boom. All right. So your cash flow, I don't know if y'all can see it, but your cash flow is $500,000, right? You gain $500,000 in net profit across those 30 years, right? This is what you're walking away with the table with as your net profit, $500,000, right? Boom. Now, at this rate, you paying damn near $5,000 a month in the mortgage, right? And keep in mind, a mortgage can fluctuate heavily. Feel me? Because a mortgage consists of 4 things: principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. You see that all here, right? But the principal isn't going to change. The interest, if you have a fixed rate, isn't going to change. The taxes, that could change because as your property appreciates in value, you have to pay more towards taxes in your county, right? Your insurance could change because you know how insurance goes. Insurance is one of the biggest scams in the world. That could change potentially too. So keep in mind, this could go higher, but we don't just keep it like that, right? You paying about $5,000 per month in a mortgage, right? Now let's say the average rent in Boston is $4,500, right? Let's say the average rent is $4,500 in Boston. It's crazy out there, right? We're gonna see what happens if you take the $500 difference between this $5,000 rounded up and the $4,500 and investing into the stock market, right? The SPY, ETF, VOO, something simple that'll get you on average 10% per year, right? Let's see what the hell happens. We're going to go to this damn calculator, you heard? So boom. Let's say $500. The difference between the mortgage and renting in Boston. $500. You're going to monthly contribute just like a mortgage. $500. For me, over 30 years, just like a mortgage, right? The S&P 500 on average gives about a 10% return. SPY, VOO, VTI, all them ETFs, right? 10%. We gonna calculate that annually. Some shit. Look at that, man. Look at that. You'll have damn near $1 million compared to having 500,000 just from owning a property. That you have to worry about all these costs that can happen. You gotta replace the roof, the HVAC. Goddamn, you gotta fix your lawn. Your kid just ripped the TV off the wall. You gotta worry about all that with a crib. With a stock market, you can get $995,000 for this buying consistently over 30 years. That's it. There ain't no cost to it. You get me? So let's do the math on that. Let's see what the difference is. Essentially, you missing out on $500,000 extra by not investing in the stock market and instead of putting all your eggs in one basket and buying a home. You get me? But that ain't even the worst part. Let's keep it going. Let's see what this 50-year mortgage said and how that would work, right? So boom. Let's say, all right, same thing. You got $1 million. The car, you buying a crib for $1 million, right? Now let's say we keep it the same appreciation rate of 3.5% because it has the average It was crazy these past few years because of COVID and the housing shortage. That is a super rarity, all right? That was the only time that's ever happened. So we don't stick with the same appreciation rate, right? And instead, Trump won't talk about 50-year mortgages. He's wilding. Well, let's see. 50 years, right? Oh, that's 60. Boom. So at that point, if you was to have the crib for 50 years and appreciate at 3.5%, you going to have about, let's say, $5.6 million. $5.6 million. That's how much your crib is going to be appraised at after 50 years where you're 132 and you can't walk no more and you're trying to have sex with your partner, but you can't get hard. But hey, you still got $5.6 million. You feel me? Boom. Now let's see how that's going to look as far as how much that will cost you so we can figure out your net, right? Boom. 20% down payment, same thing. Long term, 50 years, right? Now, interest rate, we're going to change a bit because remember, the longer the term, historically, the higher the rate. So there's like 15-year mortgages, you can get 10-year mortgages, and those interest rates are usually a lot cheaper than a 30-year mortgage. So the longer you extend out the loan, the higher the interest rate. Same with like an auto loan, same with like a line of credit, whatever, not a line of credit, but same with like an auto loan and all that, right? So let's say, in this case, you extend it out 20 more years, a 50-year term, let's say the rate's 6.8. And that's being generous because 50 years is crazy. That's a lot of risk. But let's say that, right? And we're going to keep the property taxes, insurance, all that the same. No PMI because we're doing conventional. Yep. Boom. All right. So in total, you'll be paying 3.6 out of pocket, right? Look how much more interest you're paying. Bro, look at that, bro. On the 30-year mortgage, wasn't it what, like 900, about $1 million? 989,000 you pay the interest for the 30-year mortgage. With this, you're paying over $2 million in interest. That's crazy. That's $2 million down the drain. Feel me? But okay, the total out of pocket though is about, let's say 3.7. Total out of pocket is about 3.7, right? So remember, the house is appraised now about 5.6. You paid 3.7, right? Let's see how much you have left over. Okay, you'll have about 1.9 million in net value, right? This is your net. This is what you get. This is what you get for paying off a 50-year mortgage. You feel me? And paying $2 million in interest. You get 1.9, right? Now, this monthly pay, let's say we do the same thing. We do the same $500. Let's say instead of paying $4,691 per month for a mortgage in Boston, you go get a crib down the block and rent for 50 years for $4,000 or $4,100. That's to make it even, right? And you invest in the difference with $500, right? Let's say we do that, bro. Boom. Let's say same thing, $500. Instead, we doing 50 years, bro. Let's see what we got, bro. You can't make it up, bro. You can't make this up, bro. You would have $7 million, bro, compared to 1.9 net. And that's, well, obviously taxes, but you gotta get taxed on this too. Come on, bro. You would have $7 million, bro. You get me? So listen, here's what I'm gonna say, bro. With Trump, bro, the 50-year mortgage proposal is not good for the average consumer who's looking to get a home, raise a family, and stay in that home forever and not look at it as a business. You feel me? Not to say you have to, but if you're not, the 50-year mortgage is not going to be in your favor because you will pay $2 million in interest. Okay? And that's with a generous rate. I think these rates are about to be crazy for the year mortgage. 8 to 9. No bueno, no bueno. But boom. You'll pay $2 million in interest. That's not good for the average consumer, bro. It's a lot of money down the drain. You feel me? But if you look at it as, okay, I want to get this 50-year mortgage, get me a multi-family, and then rent out the other unit, and I live in one unit, house hack, this could be up your alley because what happens with this is your monthly pay is cheaper, right? Your monthly mortgage is cheaper. So you have more room for cash flow. You feel me? Let's say Jimmy down the block is renting out a unit for $5,000 per month. You feel me? Because he got a 30-year mortgage. So he got to fit in some cash somewhere. So he's charging $5,000. But you, on the other hand, you got to pay 4,691 per month. Now you could lower your rent a little lower to get not as, you feel me? Lower your rent a little bit because you have more room for margin. You feel me? You have more room for margin because your loan is extended out for longer. You get me? So if you try to do it like that, you really try to house hack and use the property as a business, bro? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Give out a 100-year mortgage. Hell yeah, because you lower your monthly payment if you're thinking about it as a business, the more margin you have to lower your price, to bring in more volume, to bring in more tenants. And now your tenants are going to be happier with you because you're charging the cheapest rent on the block. They're going to stick with you longer. You're going to build a relationship. And now on top of that, you have more room for cash flow because your monthly payment is cheaper. Feel me? So let's say, all right, boom, I get mad cash flow from this, but I still want to pay off this mortgage early. I can just take that extra cash flow that I'm getting, pay it towards a 50-year mortgage. I could probably pay it down in 20. Make it a 20. I could just add the extra cash flow I'm getting towards the mortgage and pay it in 20 years rather than 50 years. Feel me? So that's how you got to look at it, yo. It's not about getting the crib and having white picket fence, American dream, woo is me. That's just dead. It's dead, bro. It's dead. For Gen Z, unless you got a crib already and you got it at a good price, it's dead, bro. For most people, keep it a buck, bro. But if you really want to get into it as a business, it's absolutely there for you. And this is the type of vehicles that'll be great for you to use. You get me? But if you're not trying to do that, and you try not pay, you don't want to pay $2 million in interest, get into the stock market, bro. You can't deny the numbers, man. You can't deny the numbers. Look at this. Look at the difference, man. Come on, bro. You can't deny the numbers, yo. You feel me? Listen, this is really, I had to make this episode because we, especially us people of color, bro, we get caught in the stigma of I need to get a crib. I need to keep up with the Joneses. I need to do this, that, or third. I need a mansion. And then we get into the spot and we can't afford to fix the cabinet, bro. We can't afford to fix the HVAC, bro. We can't get new tires for the car, bro. The tire is bald, bro. You see what I'm saying? And then woe is me because we put ourselves in a predicament that we weren't educated on. Well, all we could have did was, get you a little crib with roommates or whatever the case may be, invest the difference in the market, and by the time it's time for you to kick them feet up and retire, you're cooling, bro. For doing the bare minimum. This is the bare minimum, bro. You feel me? That's why I get passionate about this stuff, y'all. And this is why we do what we do at Think and Gen Wealth, because we don't want to see people end up like this and get into these traps, potentially with this 50-year mortgage. That could potentially happen, allegedly. It was just something that Trump proposed. You feel me? But I digress, man. If you want to learn how to invest in the stock market and automate your investments and use AI to eventually help you with that, get into the free Discord. The link is going to be on our Instagram and TikTok bio. Get in there and don't do something you don't know what you're doing with. Don't do something you don't know what you're doing with, bro. D-Waugh, out of here, bro.